Welcome back. Don't tell me something funny right before we come back. Literally, as that little video was opening, Lee goes, I did it. And I'm like,
That's our favorite thing to do.
now who's our?
When you're talking to someone and you use is it the possessive our?
But you just said that's our favorite thing to do.
That's our favorite thing to do.
That's your favorite thing to do.
No, you've done it to me. You'll text me something.
It's maybe one of my top 5.
Right
I wouldn't
before.
say it's my favorite thing to do. Anyway, enough of that. Be serious. Turn around. We'll restart this blog.
Okay.
Welcome back. It's time for some good advice that you just didn't take, and that's probably because you didn't ask us for it.
It's Nobody Asked You, an ill-advised segment where we dish out our knowledge and wisdom to people who have posted their questions online forums.
Yes, let us begin with today's first question.
Okay.
Here we go. How can I politely brag about my big raise? How can I tell people how much money I make without sounding like a big jerk?
Can't.
I recently got, can I finish reading it, please? I recently got a pretty substantial raise, and I'm very excited about it, but I don't know how to talk about it without sounding braggy. Should I just keep it to myself?
Yes, keep it to yourself. What's the point in that? You're either going to make someone feel bad, or you're going to feel like a fool if they're making a lot more money than you, if you're bringing that into the equation, and you shouldn't evaluate yourself on what you make. So don't bring it up. If you want to say, hey, I got promoted and they've given me more responsibility, that's fine.
Because that implies that the raise is there.
Kinda,
Yes.
but not always. Trust me. In this
I-
business, people get promoted all the time with no raises.
Oh my gosh, it's the way of the news business.
Yeah.
Well, we're not in news right
We're
now.
not news right now. Could there be a chance?
God, you think they'll let us back in for lower pay?
Yeah, they would.
They would. That's what they do. Anyway, I disagree a tiny bit. And here's how I would do it and how I have done it. Because I know what that feels like when you get a big raise. What are you doing?
Call the IRS.
Oh,
I want them to hear
okay.
what you're about to say.
No, I do not ever say how much you make, even to your closest friends. But you should be comfortable in your really good friend group to say, if someone's like, how did your work go? Be like, I actually got a pretty big raise at work and I'm really excited about it. And that should be the conversation. I think that is the only way to discuss it with your close friends and family. Be excited about it, never talk numbers, and if they're good friends and family, they should be like, well, way to go, I'm proud of you. I think that's fine.
No.
But if you bring up the exact number,
Don't bring it up at all.
no.
The only thing you talk about is religion and politics. That's it.
Oh, yeah.
Keep it chill.
Keep it chill. Religion, politics, but those two should cause no issues whatsoever.
At all.
But then throw in the exact number you're making. And then go ahead and ask them how much they're making. People love
What
to
do you
say that.
make?
Yeah. Give me a ballpark.
Hanging out in the 80s? I know the title makes me sound like an idiot, but as a Gen Zer, I genuinely don't understand. I had an idea for a love story set in the 80s, but I got stumped about how people who met out in public and wanted to hang out later would go about it. Nowadays, you just go ask for their Snapchat. What did people do before cell phones, though? I know it sounds stupid, but I would love to know more. Please go easy on me.
Okay, this is good because we're older than you. And so I'm trying to think, how would you get together? Just call on the phone.
Yes.
Call on
you
the phone,
called
or if
their
you saw
house
them-
phone.
Oh.
Or you stood by a payphone like I would do many a night.
Yes. And then just a hop, skip, and a jump a couple years later, I would call my friends on a cell phone. Or I'd see them at school and say, let's hang out later, and we would.
I couldn't afford a cell phone, but I did have one that
Well,
the
they
radio
hadn't really been
station-
invented or popular yet.
They invented cell phones in the 70s. Nobody could just afford them. There weren't cell towers everywhere like they are now. But when
Isn't
they
it
came
grand?
around, and I had one, I think late 80s or 90s, it was attached to a bag.
Love it. My parents had one of those.
Yeah,
The old bag
like
phone.
a purse,
Yeah.
you know.
Cool. No, so because this is interesting.
We used to do ball games.
Sure. Back to you.
We used to do ball games on a cell phone like that.
Real? What?
So you'd have this thing where you'd plug it in, it had a little docking thing, and you dial the radio station's number, the private number, into the studio, and then we plug our mics into the mixer, and then we call the ball game. I used to do play-by-play and color analysis.
You couldn't hang out.
No, I'm busy. I'm working.
You're busy working. But yeah, it is interesting now when, a lot of people, they just, like my niece, all she and her friends do is they constantly track each other on Snapchat. So and that's the only way they plan when they're going to hang. And I'm like, that weirds me out. I don't like anyone knowing where I am at any time. I like to be off the grid. I like to be off the grid. And Kata just said her daughter does that. Her daughter's like a young teen, and that's kind of their thing. So, well, in our day, it was just old-fashioned cell phones. In Lee's day, it was old-fashioned stand on a hill and holler.
You had a town crier.
Yes. Lee would like to know if you...
Lee's looking for Heather.
I love that. Okay, should I tell a person that their name means something bad in my language? Oh, it's a beautiful name, but in my native language, it means ugly and is a very offensive version of the word reserved for people who are really repulsive. Every time I call her by her name, I feel like I'm calling her something bad and it's making me uncomfortable. Should I just get over it or should I bring it up? How would I even go about talking to her about this? I think this is hilarious.
What is the name?
I know what the name is in
Can
the
we say it?
language. Do we want to reveal it?
Sure.
It's Rhonda, and in Hungarian, it apparently means a very bad thing.
Oh,
so,
no.
yeah.
Well,
So when we sing "Help Me, Rhonda," what are we saying, Noah?
my aunt's name is Rhonda. I'm so sorry.
I guess it means it's just a really bad word for ugly. So,
Oh.
Yikes. I think bring it up. Even if my name was Rhonda, I think it was hilarious. If a friend of mine was like this, I'd be like, you've been
not if
upset
you
calling me
married
that?
a Hungarian man. He's got to go through that humiliation every time he introduces you. This is Rhonda. You ain't kidding.
Okay. Anyway, I think if the person has a sense of humor, they'll think it's hilarious. So I think you're good.
All right.